You mind coughing?
Are you doing an entry right now? Intro?
You saw the intro that I showed you for this episode.
Oh, so the smoke.
When the smoke transitions, I want to have the coughing. Thank you. I did that editing myself. I didn't make that smoke. I bought it from a licensing website, but I like all the intros that I'm doing for the podcast.
I'm gonna spark up. Is that okay?
Spark it up, baby.
Thank you.
This is the PG podcast, but you can spark it up.
I don't think they check your ID when you buy it on the street, though. So I'm just kidding.
That intro for the Cardinals Nest podcast, episode 4, was brought to you by Apothecary. That's the sponsor of today's episode. A smooth, sexy, well-designed case made to keep your stash at its freshest, most optimum quality.
It's like a mature lockbox, for all of your essentials for your ganja.
When you would walk, if you had it displayed in the living room for a family event or for any kind of event, you wouldn't really, if someone was a guest at your place, you wouldn't really know it's a medical marijuana box.
Right. Like by first look at it for me, I always think I always call it that, the cigar aerators, so it looks fancy. It looks like locked up. It looks like a keepsafe, but fancier. Like goes nice in a study.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like if you have a study feel.
I'm just so used to leaving it in the jars or like a Ziploc bag. And I'm never used to really having the luxury of having it in a box until now. And it's really cool.
Right. Like I have a drawer. I call it the weed drawer. Everybody knows where it's at. But whenever we first saw it, I even told you, it just reminds me of like a more mature WD-40 can that you used to hide your stuff in,
Well, I'm grateful to have Apothecary as a sponsor on what would have made a great 420 episode. But I found episode 3 that was long lost on VHS and made sure to upload that on 420 this year. I love posting on certain dates. This is actually my second time ever posting on 420. First video being raining food. Another video that I did film, I filmed on 420, but I didn't post till the 21st, and that was my Deadpool Carpool video. Just kind of a fun video I did with my friends. We all got together. We're in Deadpool masks. Wrecking Ball was on Thanksgiving. It's still a great song. As they say in The Night Before with Seth Rogen, it's a timeless song.
It's forever.
And by the way, The Night Before is a great movie. I'm happy that I just got to show you that movie somewhat recently.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite Seth Rogen movies, and I really I enjoy it.
The casting is great. Like his wife in that movie is one of my favorite people ever.
Oh yeah, she's...
I don't know.
And she gives him the little drug box of every drug's in that little box.
And
every party drug.
That's so great. Whenever he goes with him, he's like, "This is what I got. All the proportions are off, but this is all I got."
Do you have a favorite scene from The Night Before?
Oh yeah, for sure. My favorite scene is most definitely whenever he was on shrooms, right? Just tripping, and he ends up in front of a Catholic church talking to, I believe his name was Spencer. And Spence. The whole church scene, though, is hilarious. So, like, beginning when he starts talking to Spence to where he ends up in the actual mass itself. And keep in mind, he's Jewish in the movie and has on, like, the Jewish, the David Starr sweater because they all wear goofy sweaters. And he's going paranoid because he's looking at his wife and he's like, he sees the crucified Jesus figure on the wall and he's like, is that what they think we did to them? Wait, do you think they know I'm Jewish? And she goes, yeah. How? Your sweater. And he just freaks out. Oh my gosh, I died laughing. Y'all have to see it. If you haven't seen it, wow. We got 80 new ashtrays and you didn't even get it in
I just totally missed that. Well, I kind of bumped into this little mic arm here. And that also leads into we were just talking ashtrays, that leads into another sponsor of today's episode, the 420 episode, and that is Hemper. Say goodbye to late night store runs. I'm just reading off one of these Hemper boxes, one of these dope ass custom Hemper boxes that I've been getting monthly, and this is real.
Yeah, this is awesome.
Say goodbye to late night store runs, and hello to convenience delivered with Hemper. Hemper's got you covered with premium smoking supplies that are shipped directly to your door. Remove the hassle off and enjoy the best smoking experience with Hemper. I want to work with people that actually,
that you use every day, that you can like have a backbone behind, like that's the cool thing about this is like Hemper sends you all those monthly stuff. Mm-hmm. They even do partnerships. Like their most recent one was with Hennessy. Anything's possible.
I've heard people say how like I should stay away from it, and I even thought this way too. I should stay away from it because it can affect work. If you're open about smoking, that could affect jobs. Brands might not want to work with you. I think it's funny though, because my first sponsored episode on the podcast actually is marijuana based. That's dope as hell.
The other good thing the apothecary is good for is the other ones kind of look like briefcases, and the law in Michigan here is even with your medical card, it has to be locked combination.
Up, in the trunk, right?
Yeah, with a combination or an actual lock, and it has to be in the trunk. And this is it's kind of a fancier way of doing it,
I love it.
At least in my stage of life, like I don't have anyone or anything to hide it from. I don't have roommates. I don't have kids. I don't have, any young people coming to my house, so I don't really have to have it locked up. But the fact that I do have it locked up is, it's comforting too, because I have a lot of friends with my house key.
Yeah.
But that's because I lock myself out a lot.
I have 3 sets of keys, and I go. I see you over there shaking your head. I can lose sometimes. I can lose all 3 keys sometimes. When I say lose, it's a very loose type of losing my keys.
Well, on the 420 subject, let me tell you a story about his keys. Actually.
Oh, here we go. All about the keys.
Here, hold this.
Why don't you unlock all my stories with these keys?
It's so funny. My friend and I had gotten off work, and she came and picked me up from work, and Steve was asleep. But me and her wanted to smoke. She dropped me off at his place, and so we were gonna smoke. But all of my supplies were in his car, so I'm looking all over the place for his keys. Don't want to wake him up, and he finally he goes, "What are you looking for?" I was like, "Your keys. Like, I just need your keys because I need to get the stuff out of the car." And he goes, "Well, there's a key behind the desk, and it's like a narrow space where you gotta like really wiggle your arm in deep and get the key." So it'd been there probably for a little while, and I was like, "Okay, thank you, I got it." And I left, and me and her smoked. I come back inside about half hour later. He's up and at him, and he goes, "Funny thing is, I had a key in my pocket," which he says he didn't figure out until after he sends me on my way. Let me finish somewhere over. But he was sleeping on it in his pocket the whole time, and he didn't know what he was sleeping on, but he knew he was sleeping on something when I was asking him. But you used.
I thought it was maybe just like an extra layer on the blanket, kind of rolled up. When you first wake up, you're kind of clueless in that moment. You're trying to figure out what's going on. But once the moment all played through, I knew that those keys were back there because they fell back there, a while back.
I wouldn't have thought anything of it except for later when I come back and he's awake and in a giddy mood or whatever. He was like, "Funny thing is, it was in my pocket. I was sleeping on them the whole time. So thanks for getting those keys back there." And he made it seem like, like I've been meaning to get those, but I didn't feel like reaching back there. Thanks, appreciate you.
Well, thanks again. I'll put hey, to everyone listening and watching, thank you. I appreciate you for doing that, because I don't think I would have. They'd probably still be back there. I
mean, but then you'd never lose a pair of keys because you'd always know where those
But I want you to know, if I knew I was laying on that key. I knew I wasn't thinking key in my pocket. It wasn't until I actually got up. I wasn't thinking it was in my pocket.
It's okay. I'm not upset. I just thought it was really funny how it played out, and so did you.
Yeah. But I'm happy I got that key, because that key had a little Lancer keychain from Gears of War, and I think that's a good transition into Ready Player One.
Great movie.
It's a movie that features a lot of content from different things. A lot of different
like
platforms
we're the
are grabbing
nostalgia
from.
age.
There's some movies that can do nostalgia wrong, kind of thing. Like where they kind of force it at you. And I still haven't seen. You wanted to bring it up. I still haven't seen Pixels. And I remember as we walked out of Ready Player One, a big comparison for you was Pixels.
Right, and like for anybody that's seen Pixels, if you liked it, good for you. But I feel like. And I compared it to The Purge, where the idea was so good. Like, I was so excited of the idea behind it, because to see a giant Pac-Man in like a Godzilla-esque form, like attacking a city, that's dope as shit to me. Like, that is awesome. It brings me back to where like my dad is like high score Pac-Man, Mrs. Pac-Man he prefers actually. But like I grew up with all these video games. I love arcades, and Pixels really fell short for me because I feel like they tried to do too much in a short amount of time to where they didn't actually highlight things. Like, well, what they did is they highlighted things for such a small amount of time versus like just letting things subtly play into it, like the Gears of War did
Yeah, it's one of those things that only a Gears
Ready
of War
Player
fan
One.
would know that it was in that movie because it had nothing to do with the movie. Really, it was more of like someone using the Lancer weapon for a brief moment,
Right.
and it would really hit someone that watching that's a Gears of War fan. They'd be like, "Oh shit, that's from Gears of War. That's Lancer from Gears of War."
Gives you like that Where's Waldo feeling, you know, like you're looking for your favorite game in there because you know it's going to show up. It shows all of them, but it's not exactly highlighted. Like, for instance, I'm not saying Chucky isn't even a game, but it highlights that era.
Oh, the Chucky scene I think was awesome because that scene gave the F-bomb, the only F-bomb I believe in the movie was used for the Chucky scene.
Right.
Yeah, I can't go any lower on that.
I understand. Because long live the beard.
I have a rule when the joint gets too low, and I'm not wasting weeks. I'm usually with, of course, Tia is a strong smoker. She smokes it strong till the end. And you'll even put it out and save the roaches.
I do. All right. I know tons of people that they'll throw their roaches out the window. That's cool. Good for you. You afford good green. You like good green. Do your green. I buy good green, but my favorite blunt, because I only smoke blunts really, are grandfather blunts. I love roach blunts. They taste terrible, but with a nice flavored wrap, which, you know, if you do a backwood, you can't taste anything else but that. But with the flavored wraps, they don't taste bad. And you get high on like half of it. It takes like a full blunt of green for me to get high. But when it's resined up, I can smoke half, put it out, and smoke the other.
I'm happy that I have you around because you make sure no weed goes to waste. But for me, I'd rather waste a little bit of weed over burning my beard and having that burnt hair smell. Because the smell of burnt hair is the worst.
No, I understand.
If people don't like, some people out there don't like the smell of weed, understandable. But most people, almost everyone, I can't imagine anyone enjoying the smell of burnt hair.
No, not at all. Then you just have a bigger roach. That's all I'm saying.
This is like the most open I've ever been about, you know, my medical marijuana use.
Yeah, I've always been open about it. My mom and I, we fully agree on it. I mean, she doesn't smoke, but if my mom approves, then I'm okay with it. That's where I'm at in my book.
Yeah,
I'm not lazy about it. So if it's something that made me lazy, it would be a completely different story. But
I think depending on what I'm smoking, I can be lazy about it. But I like smoking and getting work done, or watching a movie.
Oh yeah,
I can't
before restaurants.
Smoking before eating, movies, video games, podcasting. Now, I've never really have been that big into wake and bake. I don't mind it.
When you wake up, everyone does it. They play on their phone for like 20, 30 minutes and get the feel for waking up. I just happen to like to do it with a blunt in my hand. And then I get in a shower, and high showers, come on.
Ooh, yeah.
Come on.
Oh, they're nice.
The
only problem is getting out of the high shower. You don't want to get out of that high shower.
You never want to get out of the high shower, but you never want to get out of the shower in the morning anyway.
Yeah.
It's warm, it's cozy,
Mm-hmm.
But
high or not, you can't. It's all good now.
I'm a big advocate for the wake and bake if you don't get lazy. Like, that's the thing. That's where people are like, oh, pothead stoners. They're like good for nothing, lazy bums. But
well, you don't want to be smoking indica wake and bake though. Of course.
Well, no, but that's when it comes to being knowledgeable about what you're smoking.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying be an amateur, go buy weed.
Well, just to kind of put it out there, because someone might be like, well, what are you smoking? Well, like, I just usually stay away from into couch.
Yeah,
until I'm trying to watch a show that I might want to fall asleep to.
Yeah, indicas, you want to sleep at. It's your sleep. It's your body high, and your body doesn't want to move. And when your body doesn't want to move, you want to sleep, and it makes you. A lot of them give you the munchies.
Gorilla Glue. Gorilla Glue is
dangerous.
If I ever land, like, if any Hollywood movie comes to me, like, hey Steve, we like your look. We absolutely love your podcast, the Cardinals Nest podcast. We love it, but we want you to gain 50, 60 pounds for this role of a lifetime.
No problem.
No problem at all. I'll just go right to my
he'll be
my
skinny
doctor.
like 48 hours before the movie, and then smoke Gorilla Glue, and 50 pounds.
It's Gorilla Glue is actually what got me in trouble with the landlord when I was living in Marina Del Rey. When I was living in
Marina Del Rey,
I was smoking in my room, and it was Gorilla Glue, and that shit smells. It reeks. It stinks up the whole joint.
Like, we got it triple bagged, and it was still wow.
It's
Maui, wow.
I light it up. I'm not smoking it for more than, like, I want to say a minute or two, and I get a call on my phone, and it's from the landlord, and she called up asking if I was smoking in there. And it was just a really weird awkward thing, and
Right.
I was living with a few other dudes, and I was paying close to like $1,200 a month.
Mm-hmm.
And it's weird how I'm living in California. It's a good, healthy place to smoke weed and get
Right.
weed. And here I am paying $1,200 a month, and my landlord calls me to like make sure I'm not smoking weed in there. And if I am, I gotta like knock it off.
Wow.
When you're burning that Gorilla Glue, that landlord considered it animal abuse. She's like,
Harambe, rest in peace. Wow, way too soon. Sorry, guys.
Some of my first time smoking, my first experience of smoking, I got super paranoid, and I thought I was having like a heart attack,
My first time smoking, I was like 15 minutes after smoking, and I smoked a joint, and I was like, I don't feel this. I don't feel this at all.
Mm-hmm.
And then I remember just feeling exhausted and passing out. So like I think a lot of people when they first smoke, they like you don't feel that initial high because you don't know what you're feeling, but then you smoke past that point where no matter what you just kind of end up passing out. I don't know. My first time ripping a bong, oh my gosh, my best friend's mouth was moving in slow motion. I didn't respond for like 30 seconds. That's a long time not to respond while making eye contact.
For a while, you were in the sunken place and Get Out.
Yeah, it was kind of like that movie Get Out. Where
you were in a
I was
sunken
looking up, I was
place.
like, oh shit. Like I love movies like that. Like I brought up Swiss Army Man yesterday, which he conveniently had in his backpack. I was telling him this is a movie I remember going to see in theater and watching the entire way through. Like this is something I've never seen before, and I don't know what the person writing it was on, but
it's good.
You had to be in a creative space that not a lot of people can get in even portray it, to view it to people that way. So many lines were crossed.
It's one of those movies where after I watch it, I'm just like, I need to buy this.
I want to buy that.
I need to buy it.
Yeah.
And I don't feel that all the time anymore, but that was one of the rare ones where I'm like, you know what, I need to buy it.
It was so creative. It was just so like, I don't know, like Ex Machina type thing. It was, I know we refer back to those a lot, but it was one of those types of movies where you watch it and
it's another one that I showed you, right?
Wow. Which one? Ex Machina?
See, I love having my favorite movies, and when someone that I love or someone that I'm hanging out with hasn't seen it, I love recommending it or bringing it and just like, hey, we got to watch this. And especially when they enjoy it and they enjoy it. Like you enjoyed Ex Machina, right?
Yeah.
And you enjoyed, of course, The Night Before.
Well, another cool thing I thought was whenever you brought it up and introduced me to someone that you introduced me to, you get what I'm saying? You had your friend over, Joe had his friend over, and we were all there, and a song that we're going to be doing a video to, she actually introduced you to.
Yeah.
And he was like, babe, you know the video we're doing? She introduced me to that song. And I was like, that is so cool, because we really connected on that song.
Mm-hmm.
Like, as soon as you told me the idea, I fell in love with it. I'm really excited to still do it. But to meet the person that showed you the song that stuck with you, that made you like think of me in that sense, like, yeah, it's cool. It's really neat.
It was a cool moment. For a lot of songs, it's kind of like you might find it on the internet or whatever, but that's one of the rare songs that someone kind of turned me on to that I'm all about it kind of thing,
Right.
Usually you might find something on Spotify on a playlist or just browsing on the internet or iTunes or whatever. But it's really cool to have those song moments.
I think another song you actually showed me that pertains to today is If You Haven't Heard Marijuana Breath.
Oh,
it's a really dope song. You actually have it as the last song on 2 of your mix CDs. Did you notice that? It's number 20 on one of them. Yeah, it's number 20 on the one that's in the CD player right now, and it's number 14 on numero uno.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I didn't know I had it on 2.
Yeah, you really like that song, eh?
No, it is a good song. I love that song.
Actually, cool song you definitely introduced me to is Legend Has It, Run the Jewels.
I remember when I showed a good friend of ours, Jeremy, Legend Has It.
He loved it.
Yeah, like when I showed him that song, I remember he came back. He enjoyed it when I first showed him that song, and then he came back like a week or 2 weeks later asking me again what that song was.
Yeah, I play it a lot.
What song you were showing me? And that's how it feels cool. It feels good to like ask that question because you know it's a good song, and also to have someone ask you like, "Hey, what was that one song you showed me?" We have nothing to do with the music, but it's just cool to like pass off good vibes.
Yeah, once we get control of the music at work, I play it whether you're there or not. But when you get there, ultimately, for sure.
Oh yeah.
But it gets a lot of compliments, especially the video. They'll be like, "That's so dope,"
The video is just dope to watch because a lot of bars are, they'll play the music video, and that's one you can really look at in the distance and just really enjoy yourself watching it. The song "Get Some" by Ghosted. That is a song that she turned me on to over here, and you really turned me on to it. It's I would probably rank that in my top 8 MySpace songs right now. And it's one of those songs where I first only heard the song before I seen the music video. And the song alone, the song before the video was amazing.
The
song,
video, though, is awesome.
That's what makes it so great, because there's not many times where you find, I mean, it happens, but it's one of those rare moments where the actual music video is just as good as the song, if not better. It makes you love the song even more,
Right. Which you did with 2 songs actually recently. River with Eminem and Ed Sheeran.
Yes.
Video made me change my entire view on the song. And then also, not that I didn't like the song already. I loved the song, kind of like Get Some, but Disco Tits.
Oh,
Once you showed me the video to Disco Tits, I
Tits.
fell in love with it.
I'm happy you brought up Disco Tits.
It's so cool. Like a Muppet, get the fuck out of here.
Nicki Minaj just dropped 2 new songs. Both are really dope. The one I really like is Barbie Tings. That's Tings with a Z.
Really good.
And I love it's a great song, but there's one part of the song that starts around, we were playing it. Starts around 120.
Minute 25 is where it exactly
That's
starts.
my, from that moment on, that's just when I'm like, holy shit. She's going in. It sounds amazing. This is dope. I love it. Woo! That would get me going. If I'm trying to play a competitive online game or, get in that moment, just feel it, going out like a warm summer night, just looking to get in trouble.
It kind of
windows down, blaring that shit. Hell yeah.
I remember saying this when you first showed me. It gives me those same vibes as that Big Sean So Good song.
So good.
When she goes off on it,
Yeah.
It's not Nicki Minaj, but it's a very similar vibe to it, like.
Yeah.
We do that a lot, though. Like, we look out for new good music a lot.
Ready Player 420. I think that's a good name for this episode, right?
I like it. Or a 420, please.
420 players. That's a big world, right? Ready Player 420. Is that too pushy of a title?
I think it is.
Too pushy or it works?
I like the sound of it.
The sound of it is good, but if you really break it down, that's a lot of players playing on that map. 420. Ready Player 420.
Yeah.
I'm picturing Fortnite and how there's 100 free for all. Imagine like 400. Holy fuck.
Oh, on Fortnite.
Yeah, like 420 people. That'd be probably super laggy.
Yeah,
Stupid
I wouldn't want
laggy.
to play that.
Imagine winning that though, out of 400 people.
Well, imagine winning it, but imagine sucking every time, getting like 300 and something to place, like 300 plays.
All right, I'm gonna put my episode back in the box. Apothecary case.